If I go exceed your expectations, please refer me 3 clients. I invest my marketing dollars into the relationship. You could do things together as you start building your team. They could come in with absolutely no money and come away with a home.
My name is Jeffrey DeSuze. I've been a real estate agent here in the San Francisco Bay Area for over 20 years, sold hundreds and hundreds of homes, done so many flips, still flipping, still selling, built a large organization at eXp Realty. This meeting is agnostic, so it doesn't matter where and what brokerage you're with. I'm just here to provide some training and some information. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and let's get this thing going. I love the topic because I wish someone taught me early on about this. Okay, so going quick here, but I really want to go into the building wealth beyond commissions. Thinking like an investor and not an agent. Bessie, I'm good?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, this has really been something that I wish someone took me, someone held my hand early on. I had a broker at Remax. He was a great broker. He always said, think for yourself as well. Don't forget about yourself, which is really important, right? We get caught up selling real estate, and we forget about ourselves. Bessie, get that person in the room. Thank you. And so that Remax agent always says, make sure you buy for yourself. And I love that broker. And then I had another broker that I worked for in the past. He was only thinking for himself. When I look at it hindsight, like now, today, decades later, he was so selfish. Early on, I had a 35-unit apartment building I acquired. I worked hard, I got it. But then during that time, I had during the summer, I was changing air conditionings. During the winter, I was changing furnaces, right? And so being a landlord, it wasn't like selling. It was more of a slower pace. I was making I don't know, 6,000-7,000 a month of net profit. But then my sales was making a lot, 30,000, right? 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 a month. And so as this apartment building started weighing on me and, making 6,000 a month versus 30,000 a month. So my mindset got a little bit of, I got sidetracked of the picture of why I own properties because I was early, I was young. So I asked my broker, I said, hey, I got this apartment building. It's taking up a lot of time. He goes, sell it. And he didn't look at the numbers. He didn't look at the books. He didn't look at nothing. He just said, go sell it. It's affecting your sales. True. But if I would have kept that today, if I would have managed it better, I would have been literally fully retired because that would have been generating a good amount of income. Let's say extra $10,000 a month of passive income. And I had the wrong mindset. And the sad thing is he did not take a look at the books. And that's what makes me so upset about this broker. He just gave me bad advice. Okay, so anyways, I just want to share that story. So as I go through this presentation, this is just super important because most agents have good income, but they have low wealth. Many agents make great commissions. They spend what they earn. They buy a fancy car, which I did, bought the big Mercedes Benz, bought one every year. And they depend on their next closing and they have little to no passive income. And that's one of the reasons why. And if you're with Remax or Coldwell Banker, that's fine. But I joined eXp for passive income. And I've been living off eXp's passive income for the last 8 years. It's well over 6 figures. It's been 6 figures from the first time the first year, I think roughly around the second or third year, I started making over 6 figures in passive income. I just split my time from selling and creating revenue share. But anyways, most agents don't have passive income. And so income creates comfort, assets create freedom. And so I want to talk about that freedom part because You as an agent, you make commissions, right? And we make good commissions. And if you're from a good area that real estate moves, whether it's SoCal or New York or Florida, Texas, California, the commissions are relatively good, right? Anywhere 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. If you're in the San Francisco area, your commissions are in the 30,000. I mean, 30,000 is a lot of dough, right? And you sell two, three a month, four a month, you could be literally get $100,000 a month. So, but we got to get that mindset going. So here's some of the mindsets between the agent and investor. Agent mindset focuses on the next deal. They earn their commissions, they trade time for money, they think monthly. An investor mindset focuses on the next asset. They build cash flow, they make money work for them, and they think long term. So just don't sell real estate, own real estate. And I think it took, when I joined real estate, I had a little studio in Daly City, California. But the broker I started with, she's the one that lent me the money to buy that studio at the time. And at the time I had a World Savings loan, if you remember that. It was like a neg am, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, I had an option to pay minimum payment, and then a little of the portion it added to the balance. So it's called a neg arm loan, but they weren't as bad as, like, as the next few years passed, those neg arm loans became really bad loans. Anyways, I bought my first house, and I got lucky because she actually is the one that loaned me $16,000. And I paid her back eventually. So why agents have the advantage? Well, this is the reason why you should really change that mindset. Make sure you get a lot of assets, is because you know the market, right? And you always see the investment opportunities. Have you ever have you ever seen a property as an agent and then you gave it to your client and that client made like $1 million? Well, that could have been you, right? Bessie, make sure you get those people in the waiting room. Thank you. So you ever I mean, I've done that hundreds of times. And over my career, I sold hundreds of homes. A lot of my deals are off market, shake hand deals with clients right now, but there are so many opportunities, especially today. I mean, I'm sure all of you get these texts like off markets from lists from all of these wholesalers. Well, those are great opportunities, whether it's for you or for your client. And a lot of your flips, if you're flipping properties, those are the people you want to entertain. So, you got access to off-market deals, trusted lenders, investors, financing strategies, right? One of the brokers that I talked with, she's around 80. She was the first Filipino broker here in the San Mateo County. She had her office in Foster City back in the 70s. She said she built her wealth by partnering up with her customers. Okay. How did she do that? So every time she sold if she was going to sell a home to a friend, family, sister, she would take her commission and then use that as part of her portion of her buy-in on the property. So she wouldn't get paid that month, but she would use her commission. And today she bought a house in Woodside. She retired. She has multiple apartment buildings throughout the Bay Area with that one strategy. Okay. A little bit different, doing real estate 70s, 80s, and 90s or so. I mean, she's 80 now, 80 plus, but that's a good strategy. So if you could, when you're partnering up with some of your customers, think about your name is not on the title. So your name is not on the loan, which is great. And so you're not on any liability on the mortgage, right? So that's a great thing. But if trying to qualify as one of your struggles, maybe do that with some of your family and friends. Okay, we could talk about that some other time, but just talking about financing strategies, how to get some of these assets. So the next thing here is on there. Turning every commission into wealth. That's what I was just talking about. But here's a way to look at your commission. If you're getting a $20,000 commission, set aside for taxes, around 35%, 20% on investments, 50% on your business, growing it, 10% emergency fund, and 20% for personal expenses. So every commission should help you buy your next asset. So I know so many agents, and the statistics are staggering on how many real estate agents don't even own their own home, which is fine. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think it's just something that you should really focus on. And during a market like this, you could do a lot of seller carry finance. I mean, I got a property right now at a seller carry finance at zero interest. Zero interest. Okay. So how do you get a property with zero interest? Well, the client, they had their ex-spouse living for free at their property. He was paying all the bills, the mortgage, the PG&E, everything with his kids, and she wouldn't let him sell the house. She wouldn't let anybody in. So he told me, because I've been in the house before, he goes, Jeff, just take this property off my hands. I'll give it to you at the cost and zero interest. And I took it. And it took me a year to evict her. I told him I'm not going to make any payments until she's evicted. So it took me 1 year to evict her. And so now I own this property. It's almost paid off. But I'm just saying there are many ways to get assets. And today, in this type of environment, there's a lot of opportunity. Okay. Build multiple streams of income. Okay. I mean, like I said, there was a broker when I was at Remax. He always said, don't forget about yourself. And that was some great advice, because a lot of his agents, they all have multiple properties. They are just doing much better personally. They weren't like some major producer selling all kinds of real estate. But one thing I do know, his agents, they all had properties, if not multiple properties. Some of them were literally living just off the passive income from their properties. But that broker was a different type of broker. And I really appreciated him because I looked up to him. One other thing he did say is that early on in my career that stuck with me is become a listing agent. Because if you have listings, you have buyers, right? Yeah, you can make a lot of money on buyers for sure. But if you have the listing, you'll always have buyers. Okay. So that stuck with me. I mean, I've been a listing agent primarily since 2009. So that's what, 15 years, 16 years. I don't know. It's been a while. And 80% of my business is dealing listings, because as a full-time single parent back then, I wanted to control my time. I didn't want to work on the weekends. I didn't want to work on the weeknights. I didn't want to work pretty much only on my time. And that was just basically in the morning and mid-afternoon. By 3 o'clock, I wanted to be done because I had to drop her off and pick her up by 2:30, 3:30 if she was at extended care, and I would have her. Of course, I not drugged, but I brought her to multiple appointments. And, I didn't believe in babysitters because I seen too many YouTube videos of people, sitters beating up kids. So I was all afraid of that. But 3:30, I was pretty much it. And then the rest, I would take my daughter to appointments, whether I'm showing properties, whether I'm at appointments, getting listings. I brought her with me. Anyway, so that was just really like the start of how I did things. I became a listing agent. But anyways, let's get back to this, building multiple income streams. I mean, don't just rely on sales. There's referral income. Here, I'm with a company called EXP. They have a great referral program. I must have 3, 4 referrals every time, every given month, going out to who knows where, whether it's Florida, Texas, LA, somewhere, Las Vegas, rental properties. And like I talked about a lot about rental income. It's just so you know, if you get rental income, you might be working your butt off to make that $500 a month extra. And it seems like to be more of a headache than anything. But rental incomes eventually start compounding in time. It's a slow, people don't like it because it's a lot of management. It's very slow, but in time it compounds itself. And rental is very conservative, which is good, because as you get older, like me, I'm 55 now, making $1,000 extra a month it's not very exciting because it can't even pay a PG&E bill, but it starts compounding. When that thing starts hitting 5 years, 10 years, that asset really starts, you can get creative on how to use the equity and turn that into 2 or 3 properties. And by the time, you get to my age or older, then you can retire because you can't sell forever. And those that just focus on sales, I know so many agents that has literally just, they don't have anything because they focused on sales. They made all their clients wealthy. So going back to the source, I mean, you could do property management right now. If you're doing property management, leasing in San Francisco, I mean, like I have one client, 7,800. I find them a lease, I negotiate it out, I make $7,800 commission. I mean, hey, $7,800, 7,800. Finding a rental property is easy. Okay. REITs, commercial real estate partnerships. I mean, there's a lot of ways, but making commissions great, but always think a little bit outside of the box. I know sales alone could be tough, but once you get your groove, once you get going, you're like, oh, cool. I have 1 closing every month, 2 closings every month. I mean, 2 closings a month. I mean, you're making around 40 grand, 50 grand a month. That could be like life changing. And if you do what's right with your income and your commissions, you could really start getting your assets together. Okay. All right. So you could always just start small. I mean, some of the things that are great right now is house hacking. I mean, Airbnbs was trending. I think they're a little bit tougher now. I mean, city laws changed, county laws changed, taxes changed. And so those that owned Airbnbs are being challenged. And so they're turning into the house hack. What's a house hack is when you just rent out per room or per bed. Okay. Renting out per bed. I know a house in Daly City, California that has 16 beds and each bed is $800. Okay. And then they rent out the garage, they rent out the car spaces in front, and they don't even own the home. They pay $3,500 for rent. They negotiated it with the owner of the house, and then they rent out the rest of the house. They put electronic combo locks on everything and put everything on Bluetooth. And so they're just managing this house from their phone, and they're literally making close to $20,000 a month on this one house. And that's called house hacking. It's a big thing right now. Another thing that's called pad split. Okay. So, you could get really creative with some of these homes, but you could start off there. It's a good way. You could actually make a career out of it. So buy a small rental, invest in REITs, partner on deals. This is what I would talk about. You could use your commission and partner up with your friends. Like if your friend is buying a home and a little bit unsure, doesn't have enough money, say, hey, I'll partner with you. When you close a deal, you take the commission, you give it to them and say, okay, you're going to use your credit. I'll use my part of my commission for the down payment. And now we're partners. Okay. So you do that a few times over the next few years, then you could have quite a few properties. All right. So the first property is usually the hardest. So once you get there, the next ones become easier. Okay. Mistakes that agents keep doing. Well, they spend every dollar. They spend their commissions. Their lifestyle increases. I mean, I'm guilty of this. I mean, right when I started getting into real estate, my cars got really fancy. Like I had every Mercedes out there, and I loved them, and it was great. And then my lifestyle increased. So, but control it. Okay. So I'm just giving you wisdom now. Control it. You don't need to buy the latest and greatest Mercedes. Okay. I mean, I think it's good to drive a decent car. You pull up in if you're, serious about real estate, you want to have at least a decent car, right? You don't want a banged up beater with, dents on the side and everything. You want to be presentable. And of course, you want to be dressed professional. I mean, in the beginning, I had a purple PT Cruiser, right? A purple PT Cruiser. That's what my sister gave me, and that's what it was. But hey, I made it work. Wow. And that brought back memories. All right. Well, waiting for the perfect investment. Okay. If you're in the Bay Area, any house is a great house. I mean, I must have just sold a single family resident in Daly City We got it for $525, a single family resident. Okay. I mean, if you're not from the Bay Area, you might not get this, but I just picked up a $525 single family resident in Daly City, and I just got it in escrow for $868. Okay. That's a 300 good amount of spread there, right? So there are deals out there. We are agents, so we run across a lot of opportunities. All right, so you have no emergency fund. If you're a real estate agent, you should always have at least 6 to 12 months of emergency fund. I know it's like you can't even barely pay next month's rent and everything. Well, learn to like get yourself going in real estate. Make sure you have 6 to 12 months. So if you never sold anything for 12 months, you still have the emergency fund to take care of you and your family. Okay. And that you're only relying on commissions. I mean, if you're with a company like EXP, look at what they offer. Okay. The brokerage offers a lot. Okay. And they have so much to offer. And they just don't focus on commissions. They're agent centric brokerage that focuses on helping the agent with whatever it is that they need, whether it's healthcare or stocks or building wealth. They have it there. Okay. Express offers. I mean, that's a good one. If you're an agent at EXP, they have this program called express offers, where you put the address in there and boom, you get instant offers on the property. Like 5 offers instantly. All right, so high income doesn't always mean high wealth. Okay, remember that. All right, your next 90-day wealth plan. Well, before the next quarter, track your wealth, save your next commission. Okay, save your next commission. Start stacking up. I think when I got married in 2019, I must have had like 20 commissions that were uncashed. And that was a bad thing, because if the escrow company ever went belly up, because it was a time when the market started getting shaky, pandemic, I had like 20 a stack of around 20 commission checks unpaid from the San Francisco Bay Area. I just was doing things like that. I'm just so busy. Save your next commission. Meet an investment lender. Okay, have an investment lender in your side pocket. Analyze 10 investment properties. Make one investment decision. Small actions today create financial freedom tomorrow. So some of the key takeaways today: stop thinking about your next commission check just as a commission. Start thinking about your next asset. Like I said, great time to get seller carry finance. I know us real estate agents, hard to qualify, right? Hard to qualify, but there's some really good loans, like the DSCR loan, great loan. You just have the down payment, and you can show a track record that you're creating income. Boom, you get your loan. Okay. Let every closing move you closer to financial freedom. Build income that doesn't depend on your time. Right. So these are some of the things. I mean, just so you know, I mean, my wife and I, we've been working on some disability care homes lately. So we bought a property, we just got our license, and we're gonna have a care facility just for disabled patients. So that's a different type of license. Of course, we have partners that's going to be managing everything. We're just partners on the real estate side. So we have a partnership where we just take care of the maintenance of the property and the property itself. Someone's going to take care of the patients, and someone's going to take care of the management of the business. So our job is just to, if there's something broken, we'll fix it. Our job is to find properties. So our goal is to get one disability facility every year for the next 10 years. So that's 10 facilities. So that's just one of the passive incomes that we're working on today. I mean, I'm building EXP for a revenue share. And so anyways, as we close, your commission pays your bills, your investments build your legacy. So the challenge is, before your next closing, ask yourself, how can this commission help me buy an asset instead of just paying my bills? Okay. So think about that. And like I said, I suggest take part of your next commission and put it in an asset. So anyways, I hope that was helpful. Thank you for your time. I try to keep these things under 30 minutes. So I hope that was helpful. and let's go ahead and pick up some assets and let's get some of those sales going. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.